Hey, what's up, guys? It's the Shothanator here, and I am gonna explain to you this video. There's gonna be nothing going on. It's just me letting you know what I'm gonna do in the next couple videos for EA Sports UFC. I'm here to tell you that I am doing a tournament thing for this game. Now, it's not just one tournament. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 tournaments, and they all involve 8 fighters each tournament, and they are for every single weight class. And it's going to start at flyweight, then go to men's bantamweight, then women's bantamweight, and it's going to go featherweight, lightweight, welterweight, middleweight, light heavyweight, and then heavyweight, of course. So I'm basically here to tell you that just these matches are completely random. I didn't pick any of these matches. I just randomized the characters basically, and finally got it to that they are all facing different people, not doubles, obviously. But, obviously there's weight classes like welterweight and middleweight. It's like, oh, there's more than 8 guys that should be in this tournament, or stuff like that. And maybe in these tournaments you'll see like a couple guys that aren't deserving of the tournament spot, but true fact is that out of the characters that are in the game, they are. I just put in the ones that are the most deserving in these tournament spots. Again, the matches are randomized, so you'll see some ones that like maybe the matches already happened, maybe the matches are already in the making, or just ones that have never happened, or they're just stupid matchups, but they're randomized. So here we go. First off, in the flyweight tournament, we have the UFC flyweight champion Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson fighting Ian McCall. And then we have, on the same bracket there, Joseph Benavidez versus John Dodson. The winner of those 2 fights will fight each other. And then we also have, on the other side of the bracket, we have Luis Gaudinot versus Scott Young Guns Jorgensen. And then the last fight in the flyweight tournament for the first round will be Tim Elliott versus Darren Uyenoyama. And then we have, in the bantamweight division, we have Renan Barão versus Dominic Cruz. And then we have the UFC bantamweight champion TJ Dillashaw versus Eddie Wineland. And then we have, on the other side of the bracket, we have Brad Pickett versus Michael McDonald. And then in the last match of that tournament, in the first round of that tournament, will be Uriah Faber versus Takeya Mizugaki. And then in women's bantamweight here, we have the first matchup on the first side of the bracket, Holly Holm versus Sarah McMahon. Then the second match on that side of the bracket, Miesha Tate versus Alexis Davis. Now for the other side of the bracket, we have Kat Zingano versus Sarah Kaufman. And the final match in that first round will be Ronda Rousey, the UFC Women's Bantamweight Champion, and Liz Carmouche. Now, in the featherweight tournament, we have Chad Money Mendez versus Chang Sung Jung, the Korean Zombie. And also on the same side of the bracket, we got Dustin Poirier versus the UFC featherweight champion Jose Aldo. And then on the other side of the bracket, we got the notorious one. People are calling them a Greg Goat. You got it, Conor McGregor versus Ricardo Lamas. And then the last fight in that first round that we will have there in the featherweight tournament is Frankie Edgar versus Cub Swanson. And then in the lightweight division, we have, as the first matchup, the UFC lightweight champion Anthony Pettis versus Nate Diaz. And then the second fight on that side of the bracket will be Donald Cerrone versus Khabib Nurmagomedov. On the other side of the bracket, we have Gilbert Melendez versus Ben Henderson. And the other fight on that side of the bracket, Rafael dos Anjos versus Eddie Alvarez. Now in the welterweight division, we have Carlos the Natural Born Killer Condit versus Johnny Hendricks. Then we have Hector Lombard versus Matt Brown. On the other side of the bracket, we have Ruthless Robbie Lawler. I'm so sorry, I messed that up so bad. I'm getting ready to hear that in the comments. But yes, the UFC welterweight champion, Robbie Lawler versus Rory McDonald. And then we got the former unbeaten champion. Well, he's been beaten twice in his career, but you know what I mean. Georges St. Pierre versus Nick Diaz. And then we got, in the middleweight division, Gegard Mousasi versus Jacare Souza. And then we have the UFC middleweight champion Chris Weidman facing Yoel Romero. And then on the other side of the bracket, we got Lyoto the Dragon Machida versus the greatest of all time, Anderson Silva. And to finish that first round off in the middleweight division, we got Vitor Belfort versus Luke Rockhold. In the light heavyweight division, we have the UFC light heavyweight champion Jon Jones facing Glover Teixeira. Then we also have Ryan Bader versus Rashad Evans. And then on the other side of the bracket, we got Alexander Gustafsson versus Daniel Cormier. And then the final fight that will take place in the light heavyweight first round match up in the tournament will be a colossal right-hand battle between Anthony Johnson and Dan Henderson. And in the heavyweight division, we got the first matchup as Roy Nelson versus Fabricio Werdum. And then in the second matchup on that side of the bracket, we got Brock Lesnar versus Junior Dos Santos. And then on the other side of the bracket, we got Andrei Arlovsky versus Travis Browne. And then the last fight in the first round will be the UFC heavyweight champion Cain Velasquez versus Stipe Miocic. Now, I know you guys, there's a lot of matchups you got to think about in this video. It's kind of a lot to put on you guys just in one video about thinking about that. But you guys are going to be able to watch this video. I'm not going to start recording any of the fights until, probably like tomorrow or something, which is when you guys will probably see this video, to be honest. But that's going to be it for this video, guys. You got all the matchups. You know how this works now. If you have any more questions about this tournament, please comment below. And, of course, leave a like and subscribe because this is going to be one hell of a tournament. Until next time, this has been the Showthinator. Goodbye.